offseason. Make every game interesting at Beau Rivage. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
ESPN Pensacola 945 is accepting applications for employment. Periodically, we have openings in sales, business, news, promotions, engineering, production, and programming. We'll keep your application for consideration when such an opening occurs. We also provide internships to qualified students. Apply online at ESPNpensacola.com or at our studios at 7251 Plantation Road behind University Town Plaza on Davis Highway between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. ADX Communications is an equal opportunity employer.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
Tell your fan friends that you've switched to Pensacola's new ESPN. ESPN Pensacola 94.5. It's where you hear Chad Berlante's Sports Drive at 5, Coach K, and Sports Call with Jordan Glass and Davis Allen. Plus all of your ESPN national faves like Gullick and Wingo and Paul Feinbaum. And if you'd like to be an ESPN sponsor or one of our promotional partners, just give us a call at 262-6000. 262-6000.
All sports, all the time. ESPN Pensacola.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5. I'm Jordan Glass with your Pensacola Sports Update. For your UWF Argos, unfortunately, baseball comes up short in the Gulf South Conference Tournament on Monday to Delta State by final score of 9-1. While softball, for the second time in the last 3 years, will be hosting the NCAA Tournament as a 1 seed in the South region. To get the NCAA Tournament started off, they'll be playing on Thursday at 1 o'clock at the UWF Softball Complex. For your Pensacola Blue Wahoos, they are victorious on the road over Mississippi by a final score of 6-3. This moves the Wahoos to 21-10 on the year. Coming up next, it's Game 2 of this 5-game series on this 10-game road trip. It'll be 6:35 tonight is when first pitch is set to be underway. Chris Garagiola will have the call right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. The next time they'll be at the friendly confines of Blue Wahoo Stadium, that's coming up May 16th. They'll be taking on the Mobile Bay Bears. I'm Jordan Glass with your Pensacola Sports Update.
Those up the middle. At the 40. Derek Brooks 30. Brooks to the 29. 20. Derek Brooks all the way. Touchdown Tampa Bay. Derek Brooks. The dagger's in. We're going to win the Super Bowl.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket, and this time his name is Bubba.
Pitch on the way. Russell drives one in the air. Deep left center. That's back near the wall. It's got a chance. Grand slam. Grand slam, Addison Russell.
The new WNBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
And Richardson breaks free on the sideline. End zone. How about that? Bama scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trick Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And these them Louisiana, Pensacola guys, they looking crazy and all that.
Morris, blocked by the tight end Paul. That opens up the door. Breaking the Kendricks tackle. To the pylon. Touchdown.
Really nice effort there by Alfred Morris, extending that ball over the goal line.
Near side ball is that big game. Doug Baldwin's got a first down. And Doug Baldwin, 93 yards, now has back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons.
Reggie Evans, and he's going to get an ovation. Guy from Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome to the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola 945 and on Blab TV. I am Chad Brillante. Glad to be with you here as always, broadcasting on this Tuesday evening. A lot to get to on today's show. Joining me as always, partner in crime, even though half the time he doesn't want to be part of the crime, Jordan Glass. What's happening, my friend?
I'm the car driver. I'm the getaway driver. That's my part in this.
Baby Driver. What's that movie with the guy?
Hey, he drives the car really good.
Does.
So,
I'll
go with it.
I convince my wife. You know those. Look, you're not married, but when you convince, if you take a girl on a date and you convince them, like I convinced her that Moneyball was a movie about Brad Pitt.
Right.
And she sat there for like the first 20 minutes and was like, this is all baseball talk, isn't it? I'm like, no. Brad's going to there's going to be a scene where he's stretching out, he takes off his shirt.
Angelina comes in.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He runs the beach or something. And she's like, now it's into sabermetrics. What the crap? And I'm like, hey, So I think when you look right now at a movie like we just talked about, yeah, sometimes it just gets to that point where, hey, Baby Driver, it's a women's, if you're going to go out there for a date night, it's a good movie. And by the way, it is.
Just tell her it's about a baby that can drive a car. There you go.
So the last couple of weeks I've been on an extra energy drink binge kind of thing because, look, you've been doing a couple different shows, running back and forth, having some fun, wheeling and dealing. So and I feel like this is the redheaded stepchild of the energy drinks right now currently, but a rock star. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just saying, a monster, and they got a monster payday, if you know what I mean. And then you got guys like, obviously, Red Bull, which gives you wings. So I'm sitting there, got a rock star day, didn't feel like a rock star. Opened this thing up, all over. And so I got like a 1/5 of an energy drink, and the rest smells like a nasty energy drink. So, that's what it is. And let's move on. A lot of things to get to on today's show. We're going to talk some NBA playoffs as the Philadelphia 76ers will go to Toronto north of the border. You know what stinks? Is that that the Toronto Blue Jays and the Toronto Raptors, every time they play a game, they have to come back through customs. I was listening, and that's one cool thing about baseball.
Never thought of that. Yeah.
Baseball will give you some insight. There's a lot of downtime. I talked about a raccoon attacking a lady in left field for like 45 minutes one time in a Las Vegas 51ers game. Not too many people, shockingly, go to Las Vegas to see minor league baseball. But I'm out there, and there was a raccoon out in left field, and it was awesome. And this lady's like running around. Guy's like, popcorn, like it was just one of those kind of things. So I'm just going to town on this story. It sounds like a story I'd be making up on radio, but it was real. So I'm sitting there and realizing that baseball has so much downtime. And it's a strike on the outside corner. It's a 1-2 count here. Raccoon's still attacking the lady in left field out there. Yep. Oh, she could. And another. Like, you have so much. And this guy explained all about how these players, some of them are pretty ticked off. And not only that, remember, like 50% of the roster are guys from Dominican Republic, or guys, so customs always, if you're not from the country you're checking out of, it takes a few more minutes to get through, and especially when you come to the United States. So they're not under the, oh, look, it's the Blue Jays, let's take selfies. It's, we've seen the TSA agents, the security guards. They could care less. They could give a hoot if LeBron James or if your grandmother Millie got off that plane. They're going to treat you like ready to go to town. If you have a last name like Brillante, you better get ready to get frisked. I'm just saying, that was not fun. Orlando International Airport. So sometimes you get to that moment where you realize that it could be a lot worse. And I never really realized that. But the Raptors, once again, and the Philadelphia 76ers will have to go north of the border to Toronto. And once they've checked into customs tonight at 7 o'clock will be game number 5. It's going to be a good night. 2-2 in Toronto and Philadelphia. And then you've got a 2-2 series with Portland right there with Denver.
Yeah, and I think, obviously, if you're going to pick a game that's going to be the best out of the two, I think Philadelphia and Toronto is going to be the better of the two games. Both are close series, but I think the Portland-Denver series, I think that's more kind of, just they're an even keel. Mm. They're evenly matched. This Philadelphia-Toronto series, that's actually going to be a legit good series, and I have a feeling that's going to go 7 games.
It should be fun. So that game tonight at 7 o'clock, and then Portland and Denver will kick it off at 9:30. Joe Namath, Broadway Joe. We knew he, since his moment, that was 2003. Making us feel old. That was 16 years ago where he went to Susie Colbert and sort of made, oh my goodness, oh my stars. Nobody liked to see that. It was a good look for him. But Joe Namath is now 75 years old. He could probably pass for getting checked for AARP. When they send in the paperwork, sir, are you 50 yet? Like, he's one of those kind of guys. But now at 75 years old, he is taken to writing a book. and opening up about, and that's a guy, you know, you think about it, Jordan, if you could put a list of a couple people who you would like to read a book about, to I think the younger generation more than ever, it would be Joe Namath. Because when your name has Broadway to it, you know, you always want to hear a little bit about it. Pete Rose is one of those kind of guys. You want to hear about Joe Namath. You want to hear probably about a guy, I would say the other one in basketball, Pistol Pete, would be on that list.
Yeah.
Like, these are guys that, to me, the younger generation didn't get to watch
John
them.
McEnroe.
John McEnroe, O.J. Simpson. Book on sports, clearly. It's just a sports game. Yeah. I'll take a stab at that book. But overall, you look at a guy like Joe Namath, and he said that multiple times that he almost drank himself to death. I mean, this is something where, and remember, he's writing sort of the book, so he doesn't have to admit. That's not a good look, but when you're writing that, he pretty much said there was multiple times during his life where alcohol almost was the end for him. And, you know, I know that there's been some moments, and this is one right here with Susie Colbert.
Been drinking for several hours.
I believe everything that anyone else has watched Chad play impresses me. The same thing impresses them.
What does it mean to you now when the team is struggling?
I want to kiss you. I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
It was awful.
I mean, this was on Monday. This is live on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
And clearly, you know, he had conned them into believing that he could be on camera. Because, look, that's the thing in big business or anything with ESPN. They do backgrounds on when they're about to cut in. You know, we've both done high school football. We did a game together for the championship for West Florida, right there on TV with Blab TV, and I've done games with WER, WFGX. Well, great companies that have a lot of people in motion. They have producers, they have different camera angles. Guy in the back of the truck saying camera 2, camera. When you go to ESPN for Monday Night Football, they've got people like, okay, get Joe ready.
They've got
okay,
a small city,
So they know exactly. So for him to be able to do that came out of left field. Like, maybe not his wobbling, but that came out of left field. And, man, that's one that when you hear that, it's something, hey, I don't care about the team. I just want to kiss you. And I do want to say thank you for the kind comments to me at quarterback. He was saying, was that Chad Pennington? Was that a different guy?
So,
okay, it was Chad Pennington. Okay. But, man, sometimes it gets to that point. I'm going to read that book, though. There are some books that I really want to read. Personally, I'm more of a pop-up book guy or a Netflix. So if it's a Netflix on him, I'd rather watch that lazy than reading a book. But at the same time, I will read this book.
Well, I will say there is like a Cliff Note version on ESPN. If you go over to their NFL page, they have an article where they talk to him about that. And he actually says that moment, the audio we just played with Susie Colbert, that is the moment that caused him to stop drinking altogether. You know, his drinking had costed him a divorce in 2000, but in 2003, that moment with Susie Colbert, when he kind of stepped away from that moment, he saw how embarrassed his family and his friends were. Pretty much nobody was talking to him after that happened on national television, Monday Night Football. Millions of people saw it. It was all over late night talk shows the next few days. He kind of realized how he was embarrassing the people that were closest to him. Completely stopped drinking from that. I got to think that's part of the ESPN article, so I think it's probably part of the book too.
Wow, and that's insane to think right there. When you look right now at a guy like Joe Namath. This is somebody that is a legend. I mean, the guarantee right there, beating the Baltimore Colts. Even back in the day here in the South, you know, very few guys get to dominate the South and New York. Yeah. You know, those are places, it's, you know, barbecue versus New York thin slice, attitude, yo's versus y'all's. You know, it's a little bit different. I've had a chance to dabble in both, you know, but overall, when you talk about lifestyle, it's polar opposite lifestyle. And Joe Namath was a celeb down here for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and he was a celeb up there when he was with New York. And he's the kind of guy that everybody wanted to be. You know, he was the playboy. He was the guy, you know, and now we realize it's not that easy. It's like Brett Favre. Look, Brett Favre was a guy that everybody wanted to be. Real comfortable jeans, hanging out with a puppy dog, golden retriever, throwing a football.
Wearing your copper tones,
Yeah, he went through 3 rehabs that a lot of people didn't know. He also went through about 9 retirements. And a picture to Jen Sturger that we can forget. But, hey, I was not on that pic, thank God. Thank God it wasn't text on that. It was group text. Whew. Thank you, Jesus. But overall, you look right now at Brett Favre, and everybody thinks of, oh, man, living the life, everything that he did. Brett Favre had 3 or 4 different rehab stints from painkillers. His life wasn't that easy. A lot of these stars, they don't live a perfect life. And football is a dangerous game. And it's not a game I'm not going to sit here and say, we need to stop playing football because it is so dangerous. And what we need to realize is that football is a game. What?
Get out. No.
Yeah, I would say that. Man, please exit our studio here. But at the same time, it's a game where we need to realize that these athletes, they have some serious time. And
Absolutely,
when they get the opioid crisis is one that is pretty big for these athletes, because when there's a lot of them that never are able to recover fully. And my best friend growing up is Laurent Robinson, and he played for the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Dallas Cowboys. We were best friends growing up until we were 15. He went to a different high school in Rockledge and went on to play for Illinois State. Sort of took one of those routes at wide receiver. He went to the combine, got his shot. A couple injuries to Des Bryant and a couple other guys as rookies to Dallas gave him the opportunity. He goes out there, puts almost a 1,000-yard season with Tony Romo. Had a great season with the Atlanta Falcons. Then got signed to the Jacksonville Jaguars in a big contract. And after his 4th concussion, Susie Colbert of the NFL Network did a whole report, and he had to leave. Now, a lot of the players in the locker room, they looked at him and were calling him names where it was like, hey, you know what, you're in a nice way, I'm going to put this, a pansy, meaning that, hey, you're giving up on football because what? You look healthy. He was a 6'3", 190-pound guy that could run a 4.3. Great athlete. Growing up, you could clearly tell, and you know those guys you grew up with, that were way better than everybody else. You knew that he was something special, and he was. And I look back and we talked a lot on the phone and stuff, and I was like, Laurent, what's wrong? And he was saying, man, you know what's wrong is these people don't understand that I can't walk outside to get my trash out without the sun hurting. He's got migraines to the point where he can't even see. He says it hurts so bad from having 4 concussions in his life and the things that are going on that he has 2 daughters now and just got married, lives in Jacksonville, and wanted to spend a little bit of time growing up. And you know what? He walked away from the game. He didn't blame the game for giving him an opportunity.
Right.
But he said, you know what, I walked away at that time. And there's a lot more athletes that are walking away still with an opportunity there. And I think that's something that we need to realize. We'll come back for more. We're going to talk about one of the greatest comebacks you'll ever hear about. And, well, hopefully you caught it. It's the UEFA Champions League. Only about $1 billion. Well, let's make it about $100 billion around the world. That's not accurate. We're watching this game. Coming back for more right here on the Sports Drive.
At Indeed, we understand that when it comes to hiring, it's important to have a large talent pool to choose from. But sometimes too many good options can be overwhelming. That's why Indeed doesn't just give you access to a large pool of job seekers. We also offer screener tools that let you instantly narrow down your search. Hone in on hiring with Indeed. Experience Indeed for yourself today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting at Indeed.com/promo. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
What'd you do this time, Brad?
I'm in the doghouse after my hunting trip last weekend.
Yeah, I was too. I blew off our date for an FSU game.
How'd you get out of the doghouse?
Stillwater's Day in Medical Spa. I got her a gift card. It took 3 minutes at swmedspa.com. She booked it this Saturday.
Saturday? So 9 holes then?
Tee time's at 8.
To enjoy a hassle-free guys' weekend, let her relax at Stillwater's Day in Medical Spa. Visit swmedspa.com. Stillwater's Day in Medical Spa. Voted Best Day Spa 8 years in a row.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5 is all sports all the time. Talk football year-round with local sports legend Coach K. From quarterbacking the Pensacola High Tigers to coaching the Buffalo Bills, Coach K's life has been all about the game, the teams, the players, and the coaches. Talk football with Coach K at noon on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Our Pensacola Wahoos are back for another season, and with the new season comes some fresh and new changes. Our Wahoos are now the new AA affiliate of the Minnesota Twins, and they have a new broadcast home here in Pensacola, right here at your hometown station for hometown sports, ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Catch all the Wahoos action from home and away with Chris Garagiola. Wahoos baseball presented by Denny's on the new official flagship station for the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 94.5 and ESPNpensacola.com.
experienced truck drivers. Are you searching for a company that will let you pick the kind of driving job you want? At Schneider, professionals personalize their careers by choosing from 38 different types of driving positions. That means a better career to fit your lifestyle. If you want even more choice, Schneider drivers can also choose from over 50 unique dedicated accounts. Enjoy experienced driver pay, the respect you deserve, and choices that only Schneider can offer. Find out for yourself at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
And welcome back to the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5 and on Blab TV. Having some fun with you here on this Tuesday evening. Coming up here tonight at 6:35, we'll send it out to the Pensacola Blue Wahoos. Chris Garagiola will be on the call right there against the Mississippi Braves, having a chance to hopefully get another victory. Last night it was another good one, 6-3, the win, and now the best record in the Southern League at 20-11 overall. And Jordan, one of the things when you look right now at a guy like Chris Garagiola and having an opportunity to go out there and broadcast these games, he gets to go to some pretty cool cities. Biloxi, the stadium's right there overlooking the Bow and some of the places, IP Casino, having a chance to go down there. I'm sure, clearly, once you're done with the game, you can do what you need to do, but he's a pro. I mean, I would be more tempted. But, you got a lot of good places. You're in Jackson. You're in, a lot of overall great places to go to and have some fun. What's one city, if you could pick, to broadcast in? What city would you broadcast in outside of, obviously, right here in Pensacola?
You know what? I think I would probably go with something more towards the Central Florida area, maybe South Florida, maybe Jacksonville, maybe Miami, somewhere like that, Tampa, someplace.
You've clearly named one city.
Still got to have a beach. That's my thing. You still got to have a beach. That's my only thing.
All right, I think that's fair. Well, we talked a little more. Urban Meyer just finishing up his character and leadership classes this week, so that officially is done. I think we had to do a double take on this. When this first broke, I thought this was a fraudulent story. It was right after everything happened where they spent 2 weeks wondering if he was going to get fired or not, or for not really having the leadership skills to look the other way at one of his assistant coaches in physical abuse, domestic abuse within the house. But I look at this case, and do you believe over/under 3 years before Urban Meyer is back on the sidelines coaching football?
I'm going to go under 3 years because here's the thing. I think it's Helton's last year at USC, and then I think Urban Meyer takes the USC job.
Okay.
I really do.
He sort of plays where in the world is Carmen Sandiego. You know what I'm saying? From Florida to Ohio State, then he'd go over to USC. He was in Utah before Florida. Yeah. So, he's sort of hitting up the grid.
Yeah, but I think USC is the prime spot for him. If Helton can't get it done this year, he's out. I think Urban Meyer's on the top of their list if that's the case.
All right. Looking at some of the other jobs, would you take these classes in honor of Urban Meyer taking these classes? Some of these other guys, would you take their class? We have Mike Leach that's world history. He's teaching everything about world history.
Absolutely, I would take that
I would
class.
love that class.
Are you kidding me?
All right, let's do this. George O'Leary, UCF's a former coach. Resume portfolio building.
You'd get a good resume. It'd maybe not be a
true
resume, but you'd get a good resume.
Sir, you're only 21. It says you were the CEO of Amazon. I believe isn't that Mr. Bezos? Be like, no, it's right here. It's on my resume. George told me that. Are you kidding me? All right. Moving on here to the next one. I would take that class just to see. I took a class with him, and he was a mean SOB. Oh my gosh. He would. I was afraid of him. And you could tell he clearly did not want to teach any of these classes. Sat there with Josh Sitton, Pensacola's own, some of the guys. But nobody wanted to take this class because he didn't want to take this class. He was like, it's part of my one in those you have to take, a certain amount, part of your job, and he did not want to be there. Title IX. Bobby Petrino, driver's ed.
Well, is it driver's ed in a car or on a motorcycle?
I'm just saying. There would be the stunt double with you in the back is a volleyball player.
The stunt double is Rick Pitino.
Harley Ed. Harley Davidson skills.
Definitely not.
Yeah. All right. Hugh Freeze, phone and social media operations.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's an expert at that now.
How to get rid of them. And all right, moving on here. How to bring some good players to your school as well. Willie Taggart, first impressions in dating.
I'm going to pass on that one too, yeah.
All right, we'll pass on that. Kyrie Irving, geology.
Everything's flat. Class is over. Go home.
Boom. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's all good right there. What about that mountain range? Shut up. We're good. All right. O.J. Simpson, culinary skills at USC.
I'm going to run as far away from that class as I can.
What if it was a nice paella and he was chopping up some shrimp and he's got...
I'm running as far away from that class
Here's
as I
some
can.
good marinara sauce.
No.
Are you sure?
No.
All right.
Secrets in the sauce.
All right. Secrets in the sauce right there. Yeah, on that one, we're going to go ahead and be done with that segment. Looking right now at moments in sports. We talked about Joe Namath in this story, but moments in sports that you can't believe actually happened. Now, around the world, this is huge. Freaking out, man, kind of huge. Right here in the South, we usually talk football with 2 O's. Look, I understand. I like watching the Premier League soccer games. Orlando City has really grown down there watching the games. But, man, if you want to hear about a credible story, did you see this earlier today, Liverpool?
I saw something on it, but I didn't get to see all of it.
So Liverpool and Barcelona. It was in the UEFA Champions League. You have a situation where you get to play at both venues. And in soccer, a lot of times, whatever venue, if you're a good team, whatever venue you're going to, you're going to win.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Zenit St. Petersburg, one of the teams in Russia. They're all a bunch of, like, you could tell, guys, white dudes that drink Stoli, and they like the 20-degree weather and play soccer. They go to a place that's hot. If they go to, play Nigeria in a game, done. You know, by halftime, and then they go up to Russia, and that same Nigeria team's like, and they just get crushed. I mean, it's night or day the way that they play with home field. Not as much when you're talking about France or Spain or Italy. I mean, everybody is pretty much relative. But Liverpool was down 3-0 in the aggregate score. So they play both. And do you know how the aggregate works? If you end up scoring, you take the 2 combined of the score, and whoever has the most out of that. So even if you win the first one 3-0, if you lose the next one 4-0, you end up losing the overall series. Even though you're 1-1 record-wise, it's about the total goals. Barcelona, one of the best teams in the history of soccer. Lionel Messi, bending the ball like Beckham. Well, bending it like Messi now. Beckham's just got paid a bunch to take a bunch of money and do some photo shoots. Barcelona was up 3-0. Today, Liverpool, without their 2 top scorers, go out there and score 4 goals, and they win 4-0 against Barcelona. Which, I mean, the game was pretty much, to win 4-0 in soccer is a complete annihilation.
Yeah, that's 62-0 in American football. Yeah,
equivalent to in baseball, being down in the bottom of the 9th and saying we need to win this World Series, and you're down 12-1 in the 9th against the best closer in baseball, and you went out there and you scored pretty much 12 runs to win the game. That's what happened here today. Without their 2 best, and that's like with Houston, without Jose Altuve, without George Springer, and like 3 or 4 other guys in order to do it. Does it feel cooler in here?
I felt like I got hit with a little blast of air conditioning. I was going to say, that's new.
It feels nice right here. All right, I think it might be working. But man, miracles can happen like Liverpool right there. But I'm telling you, that's pretty insane to think.
Yeah, it really is, and the fact that they were able to do that speaks a lot for just how good are those 2 teams are just absolutely
insane
incredible
that they could do that. Yeah, and we're going to talk a little more. Brett was watching the game. I don't know why he wasn't working. I might call the Golf Channel on this one, but I wouldn't do that to him. But he was off today watching this game and was like, "Are you believing what I'm?" I'm like, "I'm not watching this right now. I'm working." So sorry. So we'll talk about it later. But my brother Brett Brilliante, who usually joins us for quote golf, he works for the Golf Channel, but we talk 5 minutes of golf, and then he just tells us why the Wilma champagne is the best drink ever that he created. He created this drink. To me, it was a 4 and 8 drink. But overall, we'll talk a little more to him about some action. You guys can gang up on some Florida Gator football and some more. So looking forward at 6 o'clock, we're going to talk to Chris Cobb of Beck Properties. Chris, a great guy and one of our resident Navy fans who will be talking about a big event coming up here. Looking forward to talking to Chris coming up here at 6 o'clock in the show. And right now, the UWF Argos in action. It was a really tough bottom of the 8th inning. Delta State now up 6-0 in the bottom of the 8th. It was a 1-0 game throughout. This is for the championship for the Gulf South Conference, and not looking good right now overall. Not looking good. They're down 6-0 now in the bottom of the 8th.
No, not at all. And they can rally back and have a Liverpool type day. You know, they're at the bottom of it and come back and get that one little run that they need more than the other team has to win it. But it's going to be tough for them now.
Absolutely. You know what would be cool? I was just thinking about this because I saw somebody's name whose name was Doctor right before this. You know, like those guys that are like philosophers or so, not the ones like they're saving lives as heart surgeons, but they write a few books on psychology, and it's like doctor. And they're the ones that want to use doctor more than anybody because they got their doctorate. What about like just going to get it? Just so you could have that name in football or baseball to the plate. Now at the plate, Dr. Chad Brilliante, and then like have something where you have like just like a little like a medicine kind of like your thing is a syringe. That's your move coming up there. Something. I always thought of that because I'm seeing that right now. One of the guys' name is Doctor, and his name's Doc. I'm sure it has nothing to do with being a real doctor, but that would be cool, wouldn't it? Just to be named Doctor or someone. That was Dr. Jordan Glass with that touchdown. And you make them, just like the doctors make you, you have to say it before every play. You just have to. I mean, well, it's a great play by Doctor right there. Once again, getting it done. Let's go ahead on that note of taking a break. We'll come back. We'll talk about some of the big stories going on. What a win, though, today. Liverpool in aggregate score 4-3. They'll wait the winners of Ajax Amsterdam right there, who I'm sure will have a good party if they win, taking on a squad that surprised a lot of people and has a chance to win it all in Tottenham. It's all coming back. My brother Brett Brilliante will join us from the Golf Channel. We'll talk some Blue Wahoos baseball. Keep you posted. UWF down 6-0 right now, bottom of the 8th against Delta State in baseball.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5. I'm Jordan Glass with your Pensacola Sports Update. For your UWF Argos, unfortunately, baseball comes up short in the Gulf South Conference Tournament on Monday to Delta State by final score of 9-1. While softball, for the second time in the last 3 years, will be hosting the NCAA Tournament as a 1 seed in the South region. To get the NCAA Tournament started off, they'll be playing on Thursday at 1 o'clock at the UWF Softball Complex. For your Pensacola Blue Wahoos, they are victorious on the road over Mississippi by a final score of 6-3. This moves the Wahoos to 21-10 on the year. Coming up next, it's Game 2 of this 5-game series on this 10-game road trip. It'll be 6:35 tonight is when first pitch is set to be underway. Chris Garagiola will have the call right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. The next time they'll be at the friendly confines of Blue Wahoo Stadium, that's coming up May 16th. They'll be taking on the Mobile Bay Bears. I'm Jordan Glass with your Pensacola Sports Update.
Baseball season just started, and I'm looking forward to seeing how those big-time free agents impact their new franchises. And if you're a small business owner, there's no better place to find the impact hire to help your business than LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs takes the time to learn more about who you're looking for and then recommends qualified candidates from their community of engaged and career-minded people, candidates who you likely won't be able to reach anywhere else. The truth is, over 70% of the U.S. workforce is on LinkedIn. And posting your job on LinkedIn gives you the best chance of finding and starting a conversation with your next star recruit. It's no surprise a new hire is made every 8 seconds using LinkedIn. So build your winning team by posting a job on LinkedIn and visit linkedin.com/sports to get $50 off your first job post. That's linkedin.com/sports for $50 off your first job post. linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
ESPN Pensacola has you covered from the national and local levels. From Golic and Wingo to the Sports Drive, the Paul Feinbaum Show to Talk Football with Coach K, we have it all. It's the latest and best in sports talk radio, making us Pensacola's hometown sports network. ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on HD Radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, and streaming online at our website at ESPNpensacola.com.
Paul Feinbaum here for the Southeast leader for cranes and equipment rental, Craneworks. The Craneworks team in Nashville, Birmingham, and Mobile is ready to make your next construction or maintenance project a big success. Give Craneworks a call for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project. And don't forget, RentalWorks has a full line of rental equipment for jobs both big and small, and now offering qualified operators for all equipment, including aerial and earth moving equipment. Call Craneworks at 877-282-LIFT or visit them on the web at craneworks.com.
If you're hitting 200 at the plate for the Pensacola Blue Wahoos, life isn't that great. But if you're hitting up 200 before the Wahoos games, things can't get much better. 200 South is your Blue Wahoos pre-party destination. Grab an ice-cold draft with the best selection in town at World of Beer. Relax in the most hoppin' spot at Blend Lounge. Or grab a quick bite to eat at Graffiti Pizza or Taco Aguave before the game. 200 South Palafox in downtown Pensacola. Peanuts and Cracker Jacks are all right, but a slice and an ice-cold draft, now that's a home run.
At Merrick, we know dogs are in charge. So our dog foods start with deboned meat, poultry, or fish, and Sorry. Coming! Here's your ducky. And because real whole foods are better for your dog, each Merrick recipe is packed with whole fruits and vegetables. Excuse me. You want to go out right now? Okay. Dogs are in charge. Serve them well. Merrick. Available at your local pet store.
And welcome back to the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5 and on Blab TV. Chad Brillante with you here, Jordan Glass. And joining us now to talk everything from the world of golf to, I'm sure, why the Florida Gators will win it all this year, as always. I'm just playing. My brother Brett Brillante joins us here after a day. I'm sure he wants to talk a little soccer as well. Brett, what's happening?
How's it going, Chad? Yeah, sports sometimes can just be awesome no matter what it is, whether you're a big fan or not. I'm not the biggest NASCAR fan. I'm not the biggest Derby fan, but I've seen some events that are just absolutely exhilarating. And I'm sure a lot of your listeners aren't the biggest soccer fans in the world, but that Champions League match that happened today between Liverpool and Barcelona is as good as sports gets. Barcelona coming into the game with a 3-0 lead. Liverpool, without their two best scorers, pretty much written off from the start, comes back and wins the game 4-0 to win, advance to the Champions League final. It was just an unbelievable game and a pretty good way to enjoy your Tuesday afternoon.
First off, I think that's pretty rude. I've seen a lot of Roll Tide bumper stickers that clearly are stating soccer. Same thing with Florida and Florida State. So I would completely disagree. When I hear War Eagle, that's the first thing I think of is kicking it around the net. But at the same time, hey, it is what it is.
I'm sure there's a lot of Alabama fans that are also, Manchester United fans as well.
I think that's a good correlation, just like LSU and Tottenham. Let's take a look here at what happened though today, because it's pretty insane to think that a team of the magnitude of Barcelona was up 3-0 and they lost an aggregate score. All they had to do was not allow 4 goals, and that's what happened.
Yeah, they had to essentially just lose the game 2-0. That's all they had to do. Lose the game 3-0, and it goes into extra play. Lose the game 2-0. Heck, put all 11 of your guys back and just play defense. You don't have to win the game. You just have to not lose badly. And Liverpool absolutely showed up. The bench players that were filling in for Salah just absolutely came to play. There were some unbelievable goals. I've been trying to think of a sports equivalent in football, basketball. A lot of people online have been saying it's the equivalent of the Golden State Warriors blowing a 3-1 lead to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't think so. It would be the equivalent as if Golden State Warriors blew a 3-1 lead with LeBron James and Kyrie Irving not playing, because that's how important those two were for Liverpool. Just an unbelievable comeback.
What about a team up 28-3 in a Super Bowl, and they lost it in the third quarter?
Again, it would be the equivalent of if Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski went out injured at halftime, and then Brian Hoyer led the New England Patriots back to victory in the Super Bowl.
Well, Frank Reich. How about Frank Reich in Buffalo?
That was a pretty unbelievable one as well.
Yeah, and Buster Douglas. All right, I get your point though. Do you think that overseeds Leicester City going out there and winning the Premier League at 50,000 to 1?
That's a different type of unbelievable. That's something that will never be matched. Buster Douglas is probably the greatest upset in sports. But let's be honest, all that takes is one lucky punch, and that's essentially what happened. Leicester City, to do what they did, to go into the season, as you said, 50,000 to 1 odds to win the whole thing, to play 30-plus games and win the whole thing. That's something that will never be topped. That's a come-out-of-nowhere story that'll never be broken in all of sport. This was a little unique one. This was over the course of 90 minutes, so it falls somewhere in the middle. It was just a different kind of upset story.
So, Brett, this week, we're speaking with my brother, Brett Brilliante of the Golf Channel here. This week at the Byron Nelson, the enthusiast in golf likes golf. I went to ESPN's website, the PGA website today, and about 4 of the top 5 headlines are Tony Romo playing this week. Now, I understand this is polarizing to the case, but how is the world of golf looking at Tony Romo? Because, when you're really good at a sport or you're really dominant, sometimes it's sort of it's mockery to a lot of people to have this guy come out here and act like he's, he can play golf. We understand that he's not some hacker. This is not Charles Barkley. They're putting him out there as a sideshow. He can actually golf, but he's not going to win. He's not going to make the cut. What do you make of Tony Romo playing in this tournament, and what do the golfers make of it?
It's a very polarizing topic. A lot of people say, well, he's taken a spot away from the field of somebody who can win. Well, not really. It's a sponsor's exemption. These are spots in the field that don't have to go to anyone, but, they're trying to bring attention to the field. Tony Romo, he's going to bring money into the gate. He's going to bring charity dollars to whoever the Byron Nelson supports. He's going to bring a whole lot of money to the event. Now, on the flip side, a whole lot of weeks, you would say, it's not like he's taking a spot from a guy who can win. It's a 144-field tournament. 144 isn't going to win this thing. Well, guess what? We're coming off of a week where Max Homa, a guy who went through a stretch of 17 missed cuts out of 19 and pretty much was outside the top 700 in the world rankings for the majority of his career, just won the Wells Fargo, beating Sergio Garcia, Rory McIlroy, Ricky Fowler, some of the top players in the world, a guy who literally came out of nowhere for a life-changing win. So the timing isn't great because, yes, Max Homa just proved that Tony Romo's spot could go to somebody that has a legit chance to win the golf tournament when Tony Romo does not. However, the good news is the PGA Tour players, the guys who are the alternates in the field, they understand this. Charlie Bejan just came out today. He's the 5th alternate in the field. He said, hey, Tony Romo's not taking my spot. If I wanted to be in this field, I need to play better. And I appreciate that kind of accountability from the guys who aren't in this field.
Looking at this week's tournament, the Byron Nelson's one. When you take a look at, the overall size and magnitude, it's in Texas. They do everything a little bigger. It's going to have a nice purse out there. But, overall, do you think that are we going to get any of the names, any of the draw? Romo, like you said, this is a good tournament for Romo because it doesn't have Tiger Woods, doesn't have some of the big names that you're going to get. But in a couple of weeks, we're looking at an opportunity to have Tiger Woods go out there and prove his worth again. And do you think that Tiger is going to win another major this year with 3 remaining?
I mean, again, he's got a pretty good shot. The PGA Championship is going to Bethpage Black, a course where he's already won a U.S. Open. The U.S. Open is going to Pebble Beach. We all know his success there, winning the U.S. Open in 2000 by the largest margin of victory in U.S. Open history, multiple wins, the AT&T Pebble Beach, and then the Royal Portrush. That's kind of a wild card. None of the players on the PGA Tour right now have played that course in a major championship. Obviously, Rory and the Northern Ireland guys can have a little advantage there, but it couldn't really be a better setup for courses unless you swapped out Portrush or St. Andrews. I think Tiger is going to have a very, very good chance to win this upcoming major. That said, man, have you watched videos of him on Twitter? Have you seen him trying to walk since winning the Masters? That win took so much out of him physically and mentally. The amount of work that he put in to be mentally, physically, golf game ready to win that Masters and complete what was one of the greatest comeback stories in golf history. It took a lot out of him, so I'm not 100% sure, especially with 0 PGA Tour starts between the Masters and the PGA Championship, if Tiger is going to be at the top of his game. I think that this upcoming PGA Championship is going to fall into the lines of a big hitter like Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, 2 of the names that we hear at these type of events a whole lot. Brooks Koepka, he's a defending champion. He's won the last 2 U.S. Opens, and he's playing with a little chip on his shoulder right now. So I would put those guys ahead of Tiger Woods in my personal picking. However, Vegas says Tiger's the favorite.
Well, and it should be another one, like you said last week, Homa really opening up the door, because I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw the replays, and Homa had his stroke in the hole all night long, and it was great. And I was watching it, and I think he'll continue to have that success if he can stay on that path, and it should be fun to watch. Looking right now at moving on to the NBA, is there one team that stands out to you right now when you look at the teams left?
I think we go back to what we said last year, and the winner of the Golden State-Houston series goes on to win it all. I think that was kind of the impression we all had going in, and I'm going to stick with it right now. Kevin Durant, I think, has claimed the mantle of the best player in the NBA. James Harden is pretty clear-cut the best scorer in the NBA right now. You can like the way that he scores or not. However, you can't argue the fact that the guy makes ridiculous three-point shots, and when he's not making them, he's usually drawing some sort of ridiculous foul. I'm pretty sure that those are the top two teams right now. It's a shame that they're meeting at this point and not in the Western Conference Finals. That said, wow, Milwaukee, Greek Freak. Here's a guy who, had all the talent in the world, but just really hadn't put it together. And what we've seen over these last two games from him, he can just do things on a basketball court that we have never seen before. So I know that Milwaukee wouldn't be the sexiest pick to make the NBA Finals. I don't think that Milwaukee-Houston is going to put a whole lot of butts in the seats. That said, if you want to see an elite athlete do things that you've never seen on a basketball court before, you should be rooting for the Bucks.
And Brett, final question here. Jason Pierre-Paul released a new statement on his car accident. At this point, if they doubled your salary to work for NBC Sports and have a chance to work on a 60 for 60 on Jason Pierre-Paul's life, but you had to follow him around and be everywhere he was for a week, would you do it?
Well, I mean,
there's a good chance of something happening based on that he's blown himself up with fireworks and been in a car accident within a year.
I was going to say I would need to know the blast radius of the fireworks that he was using.
Yeah, I mean, you go to the roller coaster rides first at Disney, the huge, and then, get off that and maybe do some bungee jumping together, and skydiving into land.
I have shot with a camera hanging out the side of a Cessna airplane at over 10,000 feet. And that was way less scary, and I would do that again before I would get in a car and film with Jason Pierre-Paul. So, no, that's not really a documentary that I want to work on.
He would be the guy to light a sparkler in the parking lot, and somebody's gasoline would be the... But, yeah, no, I would pass on that.
Not really the... again, not really the smartest tool in the shed, but that being said, it doesn't sound like he has the best luck in the world, does it?
Beautiful turkey gobblers for Thanksgiving, though, for the kids. That's I'm just saying. Brett, before we let you go, I know it's a big game tonight. Is that Fenway, by the way?
That is Fenway in the background. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Fenway.
For this friend across the street.
All right. Well, is he okay? I mean, clearly, you can end this if you need to take care of your dog here. But is there anything you want to say tonight with the Blue Wahoos and Braves, Mississippi Braves? Who do you got?
Oh, wow. That's, Chad, I wouldn't even attempt. I know that you're the big expert on this one. So, yeah, I will fully admit, I bring the heat when it comes to baseball and golf and basketball. But Blue Wahoos, yeah, that's all you, buddy.
Hey, Miguel Sano took one deep. Miguel Sano took one into the water. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying.
We had a little conversation. Royce Lewis, the top prospect in the minors right now with the Twins organization. Blue Wahoo fans should be pretty excited seeing this guy at some point, either later this year or 2020. That being said, my pick for the night, what I'm going to be watching is the Dallas Stars hockey game, because it doesn't matter if you know a single play. Again, great sports is great sports, and I'm not the biggest hockey fan of the world. I don't know a single player on either team. That said, there are few things better in all of sports than Game 7 elimination hockey. It's just as good as it gets, and the hatred and the passion and the excitement of knowing that just one goal sent you home. It's as good as it gets. So, yeah, I'll probably have that in the background tonight.
Yeah, these games, though, definitely the hockey games overall, I think, have been definitely not they weren't the matchups we expected for sure. You get Dallas taking on a team. Everybody thought Nashville was probably going to make it out of that series. You get Dallas in a series against, St. Louis that isn't, it doesn't have that. It doesn't have the Bruins versus, Tampa Bay or Pittsburgh taking on a team like the LA Kings or some of the matchups we've gotten in the past. Right now, we're getting some, even San Jose and Colorado doesn't sound right for, a chance to move on. But
And, this was kind of my thing with the NCAA tournament this year. I don't mind a Goliath versus Goliath, two heavyweights, the top of their game battle out. Everybody loves a David versus Goliath story, the big, strong favorite versus a huge underdog. What we don't want is, David versus David. We don't want two underdogs, two scrappy teams that nobody really knows battling out. That's kind of what we had earlier this year, the Texas Techs of the world, the Auburns. It would have been great if it's one of them versus Duke, but when it's Texas Tech and Virginia and Auburn, that's kind of the way the NCAA tournament was this year. It's kind of the way the NHL playoffs are this year. I think the Blue Jackets would be a, much better story, if they were meeting the Tampa Bay Lightning in the finals or somewhere where they could take them down versus eliminating all the best teams and most notable teams in hockey pretty early in the season.
Yeah, that Lightning story is one they can forget. Hey, but the Rays are playing well. They're crushing balls. Yeah, Tommy Pham Grand Slam. The Pham Slam last night.
The Red Sox have an F- grade at this point in the season, and they're somehow only 6 games back. So as bad as they've been, it's crazy. They're not further back in the standings.
Yeah, it doesn't help when you lose every game to Baltimore, so that doesn't help anybody.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, hopefully they can win tonight. But looking right now at everything going on in the world of golf, is it Tiger Woods? How is the rating? You've already felt the loving going on right now with Tiger Woods and winning that Masters? Are you feeling the flow, the ratings, and everything going on?
Look, the world of golf, the world of sports is always better when Tiger Woods is winning, when Tiger Woods is playing, when Tiger Woods is in the news. Obviously, getting the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Donald Trump at the White House yesterday, obviously, politics is polarizing, especially when it's mixed with sports. Take what he's done on the golf course completely out of it. Obviously, he's accomplished a ton with 15 major championships and 81 PGA Tour wins. But what the Tiger Woods Foundation has done, what he has done for minorities in the game of golf, what he has done for all children growing up and having a passion for the game of golf, he has done more for this game than probably anyone other than Arnold Palmer. It was a fantastic honor, and I worked very close with Matt Adams, who got to go up there and cover it for Golf Channel. I know it was one of the highlights of his career. It's just it was really, really cool to see him get that.
It'll be funny is just like let Vince McMahon get his hands on the PGA for a week and be like, Tiger Woods wins another tournament, and like Elin Nordgren runs out there like, take me back, take me, like running on there. Oh my goodness, what is happening here on 18? I'm just probably would not happen, but it would be fun to watch.
Again, that goes back to your David versus Goliath, your kind of heroes versus villains. That's what golf needs right now. We need somebody to kind of step it up and be that villain, because Rory and Ricky and Justin Thomas and all these guys, let's face it, they're all kind of likable. They're all very good. But other than maybe Patrick Reed, there's not a whole lot of villains out there in golf. So as much as I am not the biggest Patrick Reed fan in the world, having him come down the back 9 of the PGA Championship versus a Tiger versus a Rory McIlroy, that would be fantastic for the game of golf right now.
But just put Tiger with Shooter McGavin. You know what I'm saying? In the final pairing, that would be fun. Shooter. But yeah, guy coming at him with a Volkswagen Beetle on 17 down the fairway. All right. Well, Brett.
Green jacket, gold jacket.
Yeah, who gives a you know what? Yep. Well, we would give a you know what on the show if you said that, because we would be off the air right now. So,
exactly.
Hey, appreciate it. Yay. Look, we've survived this long, and obviously I only say PC things. Brett, thanks again, and we'll talk to you here soon.
Absolutely, Chad. Have a good one. Say hi to the family for me.
All right, I will. Your family, too. Back at you. Well, on that note, let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk some more about the games going on right now. Big night in the NBA, NHL playoffs, and more. And Blue Wahoos baseball, 6:35 first pitch. Chris Garagiola as they'll take on the Mississippi Braves.
Florida, with its sunny weather and beautiful beaches, is a great place to walk and bike. Alert Today Florida encourages you to think beyond the driver's seat. Consider making a trip or 2 per week on foot or by bike. Active transportation like walking and biking can improve your health, reduce stress, and give you a few minutes to enjoy the sunshine. And here are a few tips to help you walk and bike safely. Remember, when walking, cross in the crosswalk and obey the pedestrian signals. And when riding, obey traffic laws and always ride in the direction of traffic, because safety doesn't happen by accident.
Experienced truck drivers. Schneider has the driving careers you've been looking for. Schneider's dedicated driving jobs mean consistent miles and predictable home time. Choose from over 50 unique dedicated accounts. Career growth opportunities mean you can transfer to any type of position. There are 38 types of driving jobs at Schneider and training and office jobs. Plus, our consistent paychecks and comprehensive benefits equal peace of mind for both you and your family. Find out more at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Join Harley-Davidson of Pensacola Thursday night for Women's Bike Month themed bike night. Come out for live music from Brooke Brown, Harley's Angels serving free beer, delicious food available from Arlene Williams Barbecue, and Saturday, May 11th, the Crew de Who's second annual Crawfish Festival Bike and Car Show, supporting the USO of Northwest Florida. There's always great things happening at Harley-Davidson of Pensacola. Follow on Facebook and keep up with all the upcoming events. Harley-Davidson of Pensacola. Let's ride.
Good Wednesday afternoon. We've got a long meeting today. We're all hungry. Let's just get through this.
As you can see on the pie chart, pie.
Focus, Mary.
From the earnings report, we had some wings in September. Wings. Let's order Buffalo Wild Wings. We could concentrate better with full stomachs.
That's a game winner, Mary. You've earned yourself a promotion.
Earn yourself a promotion at your next staff meeting with Buffalo Wild Wings Pensacola large order takeout. BuffaloWildWings.com.
The year was 1919. Barbasol shaving cream was invented by a dreamer named Frank Shields. The world's first modern shave cream, Barbasol changed the face of shaving forever. A few billion shaves later, Frank's dream lives on. Behind every face is a dream. Barbasol proudly salutes every fearless, self-assured, wide-eyed dreamer all across America. Celebrating 100 years. Barbasol.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
Classic tunes rocking back here. I feel like my dad's about to break out in the harmonica right now.
Chat, can you hear me?
Yeah. Well, yes, we can.
There we go.
Hey, there you go. Sounded good right there. Having some fun with you as well. As always, is you can join us here and taking a look here at what's going on with everything going on in the world of sports. We're going to talk coming up here with Chris Cobb as. If you can go ahead and, lower that down a little until I'm ready there. Looking at some of the things going on right now with the West Florida baseball team. 6-0 loss earlier today to Delta State. Tough loss overall, but overall pretty good season. And winning the regular season for the UWF Argos. Jordan, it was one of those kind of things where, 36-16, they've still got a shot in the tournament. But in the Gulf South Conference Championship, they lost today to a 39-12 Delta State squad.
Yeah, but I mean, look on the bright side for the Argos. They are still going to go into the NCAA tournament. They still won the regular season championship, so they still got a lot left to play for. They've still accomplished a lot this year, and they're still a really good baseball team. Just because they didn't win the conference tournament, it doesn't affect them any bit. They're just focused on the NCAA tournament, go win the national championship.
Absolutely. And joining us now to talk a little more about a big event here and an opportunity to get involved in something that's very good within the community with Tipping Point. He's going to tell us more about that. Go Navy, beat Army, as our good friend Chris Cobb, resident Navy fan, joins us here in studio. Chris, what's happening, my friend? Man?
Good to see you again, Che. Yeah, go Navy, beat Army. Obviously, we have to start that way every time.
Oh, yeah.
But thank you for having me on. Yeah, I just wanted to take an opportunity to kind of talk to you about this project that Leadership Pensacola has done for Gulf Coast Kids House and our team Tipping Point. So a little bit about this program. Previously, Gulf Coast Kids House had this program to train adults on child abuse prevention awareness. And it would take 2 hours, and they'd have to either come to your place of business, you'd have to go to Gulf Coast Kids House, and there just wasn't a whole lot of resources to get enough people trained in the time that they wanted to. So what we did was we developed this online 30-minute training platform where you can see at their website, and it gets you certified to be a child abuse prevention awareness officer, essentially. And you can do it on your phone, on your iPad. And a really cool thing about it is for your business, if you have 80% of all the employees in a business complete the training, you become a certified safe kid zone. And we get a nice little sticker that we provide. You can put it right there next to your chamber membership or whatever you have outside in front of your office to say, hey, we are trained, we are aware, and we know how to prevent and actually report child abuse and reduce it. So it's a really cool program that we developed.
Well, and I think that's something that's important too, because there's a big difference between disciplining your child and abuse. And I think there's not, this isn't people say, well, that's you're walking a thin line. No, there's not. I mean, there's a difference between spanking your child and abusing your kid or physically abusing someone within the family. And just not for that matter with kids, but with your mom, your dad, your brother, your siblings, your grandparents, whoever it is, it gets to the point where, you can clearly tell there are people out there, and there's people that are in fear to say anything about it. It happens in sports all the time. We saw the case with Tyreek Hill and the situation right there. His wife felt like and I don't know, I'm not there behind the scenes all the time. We can only see what we report, and when you get a visual, it's a lot different. But at the same time, with the Tyreek Hill, you hear about a story, and his wife wanted to go to the measures of pretty much getting his audio so he could get in trouble. And I mean, he had a lifestyle, millions of dollars, penthouse mansion, everything they wanted. And she wanted to get it on tape so people could hear him admitting about what he did to abusing their kid. And when it goes to that length, there's something serious. And obviously, this was something that was pretty detrimental. He's not going to come back, it doesn't look like anytime soon, or maybe ever, to play football after that case. We'll see. Kansas City's not allowing him at any facilities. But this is not just about an athlete. This is about something that's happening all over. And that is something cool, because being aware of something, everybody feels like they know things today because they can Google or YouTube things. And that's not always the case. Having the preventative measures to take the right step, because going up to somebody or calling in on somebody else's family, it's not an easy thing to do. We understand that. But knowing that you have the right and that you can be somebody that can do this and help out people that really need your help, truly, physically need your help. Chris, this is huge.
Yeah, and it's all about knowledge is power, right? So we want to be able to empower people to know who to call and how the process works, because a lot of it, too, is people are scared that they're not going to be kept anonymous. Not true. And there's a lot of different reporting processes that you can do, not that are, I'll say, people have the wrong idea about, and that's what we're trying to educate and empower people on. Is, hey, listen, these are the signs, this is the process you can take if you do notice anything, and we want to be able to empower people that way, because like you said, it's prevailing all different aspects of life, and we see it a lot in athletes. And who knows, there's good, strong data to show that if something happens to a child, that those effects do not just go away after a couple of years, that they continue to happen and continue to affect their life and their lifestyle way down the road. So you may have an athlete who's even a professional athlete who's in their late 20s, and they still may be some remnants of a time where they were not given the proper care or they were neglected as a child.
Speaking with Chris Cobb here, Certify Your Business. It's 30 minutes out there with the Safe Kid Zone project. It's with the Gulf Coast Kids House and Leadership Pensacola 2019. Web-based training right there, and have a chance to recognize, report, and reduce child abuse out there. You can go to gulfcoastkidshouse.org to check it out. Leadership Pensacola, the whole entire Safe Kid Zone idea. This is something great. And I've worked with a lot of organizations. Hill Kelly Dodge, Miles Bentley, they do the class kids. They have them out there every year, and that is to fingerprint identify kids that might have been taken. And it happens. I know there's a movie, people watch it with Liam Neeson. They think that happens. It happens a lot overseas and things more, but it happens within our own backyard, and it's scary. It is scary to think these things. We all have driven down I-10 or 110 and saw the Amber Alerts in the cars, and you just look up for a second, and it'll say, 1997 blue Honda or something like that, and you're like, like, oh, man. But you're thinking in your head, that's someone's kid. That's something. These things are happening, and it's a scary world. And the internet and things like that, even though it's social media has helped us a lot, it also can scare the living Jesus out of us because of what could happen, because it's so easy to entice people or act like somebody, that you're not. And it's a scary world out there. And I think, I have a 3-year-old daughter, so I understand that, when you have a kid at the park, I'm a very easygoing person. I grew up in a household, Chris, that, you left the garage door open until my dad's Shimano fishing rods were taken that one day. But, everybody just sort of lived a casual beach-style life. And you realize, I'm at the park now, and I'll let Leighton run over to the playground for a second, and I'll turn around for a couple of seconds. And in the back of my mind, now I'm thinking, okay, it's the world we live in where you got to pay attention. And this is something that just knowing and seeing something to report abuse or physical, you need to be on top of this because kids deserve it better. Nobody, whether it's their mom, dad, or anybody, their brother, deserve to be abused to a point where they don't feel comfortable or they're scared for their life.
A lot of it, too, is not just the abuse, it's negligence. Negligence is actually the biggest part of it, but it all just comes back to making sure people are aware of it, they know the signs, they're educated, they're empowered, and they know what to do in those situations. And that's really what it comes down to.
Well, and we're going to talk some more about this coming back here. Chris Cobb joining us here, our resident Navy fan. We'll get to little college football talk, and we'll also talk more about an incredible victory today as Liverpool coming back 4 goals to beat Barcelona after being down 3-0 in the UEFA Championship Final Four. So it's all coming back right here on the Sports Drive.
Tell your fan friends that you've switched to Pensacola's new ESPN, ESPN Pensacola 94.5. It's where you hear Chad Berlante's Sports Drive at 5, Coach K, and Sports Call with Jordan Glass and Davis Allen. Plus all of your ESPN national faves like Gullick and Wingo and Paul Feinbaum. And if you'd like to be an ESPN sponsor or one of our promotional partners, just give us a call at 262-6000. 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5. I'm Jordan Glass with your Pensacola Sports Update. For your UWF Argos, unfortunately, baseball comes up short in the Gulf South Conference Tournament on Monday to Delta State by final score of 9-1. While softball, for the second time in the last 3 years, will be hosting the NCAA Tournament as a 1 seed in the South region. To get the NCAA Tournament started off, they'll be playing on Thursday at 1 o'clock at the UWF Softball Complex. For your Pensacola Blue Wahoos, they are victorious on the road over Mississippi by a final score of 6-3. This moves the Wahoos to 21-10 on the year. Coming up next, it's Game 2 of this 5-game series on this 10-game road trip. It'll be 6:35 tonight is when first pitch is set to be underway. Chris Garagiola will have the call right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. The next time they'll be at the friendly confines of Blue Wahoo Stadium, that's coming up May 16th. They'll be taking on the Mobile Bay Bears. I'm Jordan Glass with your Pensacola Sports Update.
Throws up the middle. At the 40. Derek Brooks 30. Brooks to the 29. He's getting Derek Brooks all the way. Touchdown Tampa Bay. Derek Brooks, the dagger's in. We're going to win the Super Bowl.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket, and this time his name is Bubba.
Pitch on the way. Russell drives one in the air. Deep left center. That's back near the wall. It's got a chance. Grand slam. Grand slam, Addison Russell.
The new WNBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
And Richardson breaks free on the sideline. End zone. How about that?
Bama scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And these them Louisiana, Pensacola guys, they looking crazy and all that.
Morris, blocked by the tight end call. That opens up the door. Breaking the Cambridge tackle. To the pylon. Touchdown. Really nice effort there by Alfred Morris, extending that ball over the goal line.
Near side ball is that big game. Doug Baldwin's got a first down. And Doug Baldwin, 93 yards, now has back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons.
Reggie Evans, and he's going to get an ovation. Guy from Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome back to the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5 and on Blab TV. Having some fun with you here right now on a Tuesday evening. Coming up on the show at 6:30, we're going to send it over to the Pensacola Blue Wahoos. They'll be in action against the Mississippi Braves. We'll have first pitch. Best record, by the way, Chris, in the Southern League. They're having an awesome season. I know you get down to some of the Blue Wahoos games, but Minnesota Twins affiliate. You had Miguel Sano bombing one into left field and into the bay out there, where I'm trying to get like the McCovey Cove thing going with the kayaks. Nobody's returning my calls on that. It might be illegal for a boat docking, but overall, Chris, it's your office is right behind that, isn't it?
Yeah, we got a good view of some of the games right there.
Yeah. What do you think about getting like the kayaks out afterwards and being out there?
I think that'd be fun. I think that would get some more people out there. I mean,
so
I like
too.
Those ideas, those just little creative things that you can get to get something going, because it's a really great setup for it. It's perfect for it.
And then I just had to make a call to Mother Nature to raise the water level another like 10 feet because you can't see anything from there. But at the same time, it's it's something fun. It's a party venue out there. I'm just saying. Nobody's returning my calls. Okay, Chris, looking right now, though, at what's going on, NBA or NHL. We're going to have a little fun here with some of the topics going on. NHL versus NBA. If you could choose one, what are you watching in the playoffs?
NHL, 100%.
Okay. That was clear. I mean,
yes.
that was.
I mean, there's no contest. I mean, I'll be honest. I kind of took a hiatus from watching the NHL. Obviously, when they went away for a bit. But then when I was living up in Boston for a couple of years, went to go see the Killer Bees play. That was so much fun to go watch. It's so exciting. Then living in New York City for a couple of years, watching the Rangers play at the Garden was such an incredible. Everybody. The difference really too for me is between like say a Knicks game and a Rangers game. Every single fan at an NHL game is into the game.
Yeah.
You go to the New York Knicks game, you get the wine and cheese crowd, the people that are there for business. They're not watching the sports. You go to a hockey game, you get none of that. And I really appreciate that as a sports fan.
Well, I mean, I'm telling you, if you can go out there and you can have somebody that's, the hockey playoffs are really exciting. I mean, they really are. The entertainment value of every goal. The NBA Finals right now, it's like in everybody's mind, we're waiting to see, okay, how long will Golden State just like toy with teams until they get there? And they might not win it all, but, I still believe they're going to win it all, and it should be fun. Now, the Portland-Denver series has been the best series, but it's always the games are ending at 1 o'clock when everybody's at home, in bed by that time, and they'll be in action again here tonight. Looking right now at what's going on in the NFL draft. You saw a couple guys like Daniel Jones from Duke get drafted. Overall, what did you think of the NFL draft in Nashville? 600,000 people packing it.
Incredible. What's going on in Nashville now is great, and that's probably a conversation for another day. But it was, with the draft, I mean, listen, I am unfortunately a Giants fan. I have in my life. I don't know what they were thinking with that pickup. I even told some friends that I'm like, listen, I'm changing my allegiance to the Saints. I've had enough of the Giants in their drafts and all of the moves they've made in the past couple of years. I just can't take it. I can't take the roller coaster anymore. But a lot of exciting stuff. I think a lot of teams got some good pickups. I think some of the Gators went a little later than people thought, and I think some people stole some good Florida Gators players, and I think it's going to be another exciting year. I think this draft class is going to produce a lot of really good players we're going to see for a very, very long time in the NFL.
Yeah, I think the Florida Gators had about 2 or 3 guys with Gardner Johnson, and also, I know Luchas. Ja'Kai Polite fell off a little bit for his pro day, but we still saw a great athlete on the field. 10 guys out of the Alabama Crimson Tide were drafted, starting with Quinnen Williams, and then I think that the Oakland Raiders are getting a really good player, getting Josh Jacobs having a chance to work. That now you add him, you get a guy like Antonio Brown. That offense quickly is taking the next step, and they're going to be fun to watch. And you got John Gruden, so you can see if John can do something fun with them, and that should always be fun. Do you think Oakland? We were talking yesterday about teams that could be the next Cleveland Browns, and what I mean is Cleveland's had about 30-40 years of waiting. Now all of a sudden, even though last year they didn't make the postseason, there was so much excitement. They felt the excitement of Baker Mayfield, because they knew there was going to be some type of change. We were out there at Beef O'Brady's. They had a great event out there for our Cool Cards tailgate zone, and we would do the show every week, and we'd sit out there, and Cleveland would have their own group that would come out and have their own room and party it up. But Chris, I'm looking for the next Cleveland, meaning that Cleveland has moved on. They're excited now. And there's some fan bases like the Jets and the Bills that have waited for a long time. The Dolphins have been waiting for a very long time to get that next step, but they've always been sort of 8-8, that kind of way. Is Oakland the next Cleveland Browns?
I don't think so, and if they are, it's going to take them a very long time to get there. I mean, I know the Browns had to wait a very long time, and now they have some really good, exciting players. Oakland, though, I just can't see it in the near future.
Okay, it's been 15 years since they've done anything, at least. What? Not even longer than that. Rich Gannon, we were kids.
That's true.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's not like overnight. This is not a team that's been. They've had a couple good teams, but most of their teams have been garbage.
That's true. That's a fair point.
I'm risking my life saying this right now, knowing I can be shanked in the parking lot by a Raider fan.
So
I mean, I'm just saying.
When you look at it that way, I guess that's true. But listen, I mean, the type of momentum that the Cleveland Browns have developed over the past year, I mean, that's something that you don't see very often, and I think it's going to take them at least a few more years of kind of being at the bottom. We saw the same thing happen with the Philadelphia 76ers in basketball, right? They had a couple years where they got the top 2 or 3 draft picks coming into the NBA every year. They had great talent, but they couldn't get that momentum going. Then a couple years went by. They have Joel Embiid. Now they acquired Jimmy Butler, and now they are a serious force in the NBA. So I think it's still going to take Oakland a few more years to maybe potentially get to that point.
Speaking with Chris Cobb, a resident Navy fan and part of Tipping Point. It's a great group right there. And Safe Kids Zone, having a chance to, you can certify, get a chance to be certified. It is a 30-minute web-based training for free, and it's part of Gulf Coast Kids House and Leadership Pensacola's class of 2019 offering that. So really, what's the easiest way that people can get involved? If I wanted to, I know it says, for your business, but how can somebody contact you and make it? Because, it's something where I understand it's something great, but also people like to, it seems like it's convenient. And what I mean by that is I think everybody should take time out of their day to do something like that, but making things convenient for people makes people more aware to do things. It's just sad. That's the world we live in. This is a 30-minute web-based free training. It seems like it's real easy where anybody can get involved.
It is, and the biggest thing that people can do right now is to do the training because it's about awareness. Now, if you want to get involved with Gulf Coast Kids House, I would recommend contacting them, and I say that because there's various different levels of involvement with Gulf Coast Kids House. It's different in that you can't just walk in and say I want to volunteer, because by nature of what they do, there's certain avenues that you kind of have to volunteer and take, and there's also, they have a lot of, just like any other nonprofit, they have a lot of big events that you can volunteer for. So if you want to get involved with Gulf Coast Kids House, definitely contact them, go to their website. But for right now, I think the biggest thing, if people really want to get involved and they want to align themselves with the mission of Gulf Coast Kids House, is do that 30-minute training, get yourself educated, get yourself empowered, and figure out what the steps are to recognize, report, and reduce to end child abuse.
Well, Chris, that's pretty amazing right there, and the opportunity getting involved. You guys have done so much. I know you've done so much. It's good to have you as a friend, but as somebody that is really making an impact and changing a lot in the city of Pensacola, it means a lot. Having a 3-year-old daughter, getting out there, knowing that people like you are making things safer for everybody. That they're dealing with situations. It's good to know, and always great to catch up. Chris, one of the things before we let you go, college football. We've got. We're right now in the way too early top 25 coming out and everything going on. But is it clear cut this year? Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma's, Ohio State's. There's 5 teams right now that are favored in every game next season. The Michigan Wolverines, the Alabama Crimson Tide, the Georgia Bulldogs, the Oklahoma Sooners, and I believe the other team was Clemson Tigers, which is probably obvious. Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, and Oklahoma are favored in every game next year. Is there any team that you watch out for? Is it Texas, a Florida? Who's going to take that next step this year?
I hate to say it because it's going to sound like I'm a little biased, obviously, but I think Florida is going to be a force. I think, as always, Oklahoma is going to be a force. They're going to be dangerous.
I agree.
Obviously, the favorites are going to be Clemson.
You forgot the central part at the beginning, but yes, I agree with that. I do. I understand what you're saying here.
But, listen, everyone's favorite's going to be Alabama and Clemson, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it's college football. And anything can happen. Anything will happen, just like it did this year. We can talk. The way too early stuff to me is just to have some fun, just to shoot. Shoot the bird. Shoot stuff back and forth.
Don't shoot me the bird, please.
I'm not going to shoot the bird. Sorry, that's
all right.
Yeah, that's a little.
I cut somebody off in the parking lot today. I don't want to today. All right, I'm just saying.
Freudian slip there. I guess that's what I really want to do. No, but I think it's good to have a good casual conversation about who's going to do what next year. But I'm going to go on a limb and say it's college football. Anything can and will happen, and I think that there could be even a team we're not even talking about right now that's going to be in the top Final Four, vying for in the college football playoff next year.
Chris, as a Navy fan that now has had to hear a little more, and we live in Pensacola, NAS, in the area with more people from that are part of the Navy than in the Army. But at the same time, I don't want to bring this up too much because, look, we've all had our tough times. But overall, are you hearing it from any of your colleagues or people that are in the Army?
Yes, I am, because they have been waiting a long time to tell me.
Yep.
14 years to be correct, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So they have, and they've deserved it a little bit. I'll give it to them. There was a lot of days they had to spend, in December in the shade.
That's right.
Army-Navy game losing by 30. I get it. But no, it's good for the rivalry. Let's be honest. And tons of friends, all branches of service. It's great for the rivalry. I'm glad they were able to pull a couple off. But three is I think a little too many. I think this year we got to cut it off at 3.
Yeah, I think so too. It should be fun, and Coach Ken and everything going on. It's all going to be okay. So. Chris, on that note, appreciate it. As
Thank
always.
you, Chad.
Thanks.
As always,
Chris
pleasure.
Cobb, check it out. Tipping Point Gulf Coast Kids House. They're doing a great thing right there. It's a 30-minute web-based training for free for your business. The Safe Kids Zone Project initiative between Gulf Coast Kids House and Leadership Pensacola class of 2019. Course teaching adults to recognize, report, and reduce child abuse out there. You can make your business a certified Safe Kids Zone by participating in this informative training. Go to gulfcoastkidshouse.org to check out more. Thanks again to Chris Cobb. When we come back, we'll talk a little Blue Wahoos baseball. UWF tough loss today in baseball in the championship to Delta State, 6-0 in Oxford, Alabama, and an incredible comeback in the world of football. But this one has a U after the F.
Beau Rivage is the place to be for basketball championship action. From buzzer beaters to slam dunks, we have everything you need for hoop season. Make every game interesting at Beau Rivage. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Florida, with its sunny weather and beautiful beaches, is a great place to walk and bike. Alert Today Florida encourages you to think beyond the driver's seat. Consider making a trip or 2 per week on foot or by bike. Active transportation like walking and biking can improve your health, reduce stress, and give you a few minutes to enjoy the sunshine. And here are a few tips to help you walk and bike safely. Remember, when walking, cross in the crosswalk and obey the pedestrian signals. And when riding, obey traffic laws and always ride in the direction of traffic, because safety doesn't happen by accident.
At Denny's, you can get 2 eggs, 2 pancakes, 3 pieces of sausage, and 3 pieces of bacon, all for $5.99. Now, before you say, wow, that's a lot of meat, know that this dish has its fan base right there in the name. This is for people who really love meat, the super meat lovers. So if you're a super meat lover who likes the idea of getting all the meat you love at a super low price, then the $5.99 Meat Lovers Slam is for you. See you at Denny's. Price and participation may vary. Limited time only, no substitutions.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 945 contest rules. You can win 1 prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes on ESPN Pensacola 945 are non-transferable, non-redeemable in cash, nor exchangeable for any other prize. ESPN Pensacola 945 prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning, and you must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
ESPN Pensacola 945 is all sports all the time. Talk football year-round with local sports legend Coach K. From quarterbacking the Pensacola High Tigers to coaching the Buffalo Bills, Coach K's life has been all about the game, the teams, the players, and the coaches. Talk football with Coach K at noon on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Sports Drive with you right here, ESPN Pensacola 94.5, having some fun with you here on this Tuesday evening, 6:21. Thanks for Chris Cobb for joining us as always, and that's something, Jordan. It's important, and it's good to be able to know that you can do something about it, and that's the thing, is recognized as a safe zone, because that's something today where it's hard, because you never want to deal with other people's family issues, but there's a line between family issues and watching somebody be abused or something, and in that case right here, Gulf Coast Kids House doing so much. I've worked with them many of years in different events that we've done, but good to see that they're doing everything they can to really give back to the community and help.
Yeah, absolutely. Encourage everybody to go take that, just a 30-minute little online course.
Yep.
Just take that, get certified,
That's pretty cool right there. It's free, it's easy, and you can help out your business and make it happen. Taking a look here at some of the other things going on in the world of sports. It looks like Jason Pierre-Paul has a fractured neck and will be out. This guy can't buy a break. I mean, he really can't. He wins the Super Bowl out there. He's part of the whole OCU Minori. You got guys out there with he was part of that team. I think he was a rookie, right? I think it was his rookie year. I think it was his rookie year. You had Jason Pierre-Paul. You had Minori, Michael Strahan, and you had the group out there with obviously Fred Robbins. I always have to Fred, one of our favorites right here, and good friend. But at the same time, he has to. I always have to remember those days, live back those tough memories right there. David blanking Tyree. But, man, Jason Pierre-Paul's career has been one where he's obviously talented. But are you kidding me? How he's dealt with, from fireworks blowing up his hand to now, out for the season after a car accident. And that's only a few. There's been a lot during his career since his days in USF.
Yeah, look, it just seems like ever since that firework incident, his career has just been kind of dropping down. And obviously, you mentioned it. There were the instances at USF that he had to deal with there, and some things before the whole fireworks thing. But when he messed up his hand, that's when things really started tinking down for him. And it's unfortunate, because this guy was a really good defensive lineman, and now it looks like he's going to miss this entire upcoming season in 2019 for the Bucks.
Pretty tough. Locally, UWF falling today 6-0, as we talked about, to Delta State, and they will have a chance in the regional, but a tough loss. And you'll hear more with Jordan Glass's sports updates throughout tomorrow on that as well. That guy in sports, I saw a guy at the mall. I hate when I see these people. Somebody actually told me, like, hey, you look like that guy when I'm in a suit. And I'm like, hey, you son of a... Like, okay, but the guys with the Bluetooths that are really loud and like, I told you to merge the companies, Jim. You're not even sure if this is a real conversation, but you're just trying to get one of those free samples.
He's on the phone with, like, Fandango ordering movie tickets or something.
I'm just trying to be a good citizen and get my 7th free sample of teriyaki chicken. Oh, look at that. And be like, Chad, you've walked by there 9 times. But, hey, they're there. But, and all of a sudden, he's out there just yelling on his Bluetooth. But let's go through some of these in sports. That guy or that gal that can really tick you off. Fan that always cheers for the winning team. Clearly, they have no stake in sports, but they love the winning team.
They go from like the Lakers to the Celtics to the Warriors.
You'll see. I saw more people in Patriot gear out of nowhere, and that's not something you wear kindly. But it's like an Auburn fan showing up to work as an Alabama fan after they won a national title. That's bad mojo. You just don't do that.
I'm definitely not a fan of that.
Hate that guy. All right, a fan that is a homer no matter what you say is an insult. Meaning, like, let's go that. Like, we make fun of our teams enough,
right?
But I make a Georgia Southern reference to Florida, and the guy's like, "You're not invited to my house anymore." Like that fan. You know what I'm saying? They can't just take a joke.
Yeah.
You can't teabag. You get teabagged to Crystal or something like that, and all of a sudden somebody like doesn't want to talk to you. But You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think you got to
go
with hate that fan
fans
too.
like that in the South. They get a little upset.
Couple, yeah.
A couple. They get pretty upset. Obviously, they're not big fans of this show.
No.
Some of the UCF comments, I'm sure they love each one of those. Right now, the guy at the tailgate party that makes it uncomfortable for everybody else because he's always yelling like, "Third down and 1, you're running a draw. You're running a running back draw." Like, yeah, he's trying to pick up a yard, dude. Like, he wants a triple reverse, and like the guy that always, no matter what the play call is, it's awful. I mean, screaming obscenities.
Yeah, I was going to say a draw is not a bad call on 3rd and 1. That might pick up the first down. But no, I think you got to hate that fan as well. I think you got to hate that fan as well. It's obnoxious. Yeah.
Person who is going to stand from the get-go the entire game. Usually they're very tall. They've got signs.
Gosh.
Like, come on, dude. Like, if you're in the student section for like Florida State, expect a party. Expect it jumping around. But the guy that's like even during like just sitting there the whole entire game and you're even halftime and he's just like blocking your view of the band. I'm not a big fan of that guy.
It gets even worse when you're at like a Wahoo's game and the guy's got on a Wahoo's jersey.
Yeah.
He's got the seeds in his mouth. He's actually the guy's on first. He gets a little bit of like a leadoff stance and it's just like digging his foot into the concrete and it's like, dude, sit down.
It's very rare at a Wahoo's game you get one of those, but you do. I've had a guy that had the sign. First off, look, working with Blab TV and Cox as well, and also with ESPN, we cover the games. Like, okay, if you'd like to be that badly on camera with your sign, like, please come down to our studio. We can get you on TV right here, prime time, every day, 5 to 7. You're welcome. If you're ruining somebody's season tickets with your banners, please come down here and just be on the show. And we'll do a whole thing. Like, this is banner number 1. It says, "Go Kazoo." Let's go to our next slide. Like, we'll put you on TV if you're that worried about getting on TV, because clearly, who else are you trying to, like, the players don't care about your poster board. I'm just saying, unless it's very clever. But at the same time, you look at some of those stands, the ones that have the signs up, the banners the whole time, and it's ridiculous. And when it starts to rain, there is a code on how to use an umbrella. I'm going to say that. Like, if it's drizzling, well, it's pretty good. Yeah, okay.
Our listeners didn't hear that.
I'm not sure, right?
Yeah,
dude.
okay.
There's something going on with some kid down there. All right, well, maybe he, was one of those fans. That's right. I hope that is an actual child right there. Let's take a look here at it. Moving on to our next one. The aisle crawler. Now this one right here is okay to a point. The aisle crawler, to me, if you clearly have to get up to go to the bathroom, but the ones that like they pass the nachos in front of you. It's a family of 6, and they're passing the hot dogs down, and they all have to stand, and then he has to go get his other son. And every 5 minutes they're getting up.
Right.
Like, there is a point to the aisle crawling. If you have to go to the bathroom more than once during the game, either A, stop drinking your flask, or B, just settle down and, hey, do something when it's not a big play. But there is a code. Just like in baseball, you don't run across the, across the pitcher's mound. There is a code to not going out there and doing things like crawling. And it's 4th down and 1, big play. Hold on a second, got to get my peanuts. Thank you, sir. Like, okay, can you wait 2 seconds for the play? Like, the aisle crawlers really piss me off.
Yeah, and especially the ones that like unnecessarily. Like put body parts in your face.
It goes for movie theaters too.
Exactly.
This is not just for football games.
They do that thing where they just kind of like arch their back and unnecessarily need to put certain parts of their body in your face, and it's like, all right, man, I don't need this. It's Tuesday. Yes. I'm trying to enjoy a game. Just move on.
And if it's not a packed crowd, have some respect too to crawl up the stands.
Yeah.
If it's not the chair backs, if it's actual bleachers, like go a couple rows up and then climb up. You know what I'm saying? Like
5 people at a Little League game. Excuse me.
You get that one row. I've always wondered that. People, they're such sticklers to their F17 row. Okay, if you're on F17 and I'm F16, but there's 150 seats that are wide open, take one of those seats. You don't have to sit next to me and plop up next to me and then be the aisle crawler at one of those concerts. That shouldn't have been sold out. Wrong sports jersey. Does that bother you? Not as much at a Wahoo's game, but
I will say this: I wear a Florida basketball jersey to a Florida football game, like early in the season,
because it's hot.
Because
it's the same team.
Okay, the same team is okay.
A Florida basketball jersey at a a Bruins versus Penguins hockey game. That's what I mean. Like,
that bothers me.
Okay, that makes no sense. That's on that note. How about the wave guy every single game? The wave to start is okay, but if you're doing the wave the entire game, move out of here because we're trying to watch sports.
Once or twice is fine. You do it 10 times, I'm going to slap you.
There are some people that show up to a football game and pay to be a wave.
Yeah.
And that's a joke. Well, that's all the time we have for it. We're going to send it out to Chris Garagiola and have some fun here. Blue Wahoos baseball coming up. Don't be that guy if you're heading out to Mississippi tonight for the game. And looking forward to it. Jordan, enjoyed it?
Absolutely, man.
All right.
Gonna be
Let's send it out to Pensacola Blue Wahoos baseball, taking on the Mississippi Braves' best record in baseball, 2011 in the Southern League. Thanks for watching right here and listening in on ESPN Pensacola 94.5 and Blab TV. This is the Sports Drive.
Wings are now on Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20 deal. Wings?
Bigger bang, same buck. Pick a starter plus 2 entrees. Like 10 of Beef's famous wings, still $20. 2 for $20. Worth every penny.
Tower, this is Alpha Squad. Something smells mighty good up here. Who's hungry? Over.
Beef's 2 for $20. Pick a starter and 2 entrees. Like Beef's new chicken tender Parmesan skillet, still just $20.
ESPN Pensacola has you covered from the national and local levels. From Golick and Wingo to the Sports Drive, the Paul Feinbaum Show to talk football with Coach K, we have it all. It's the latest and best in sports talk radio, making us Pensacola's hometown sports network. ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on HD Radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, and streaming online at our website at ESPNpensacola.com.